Welcome to Carl's Summer Blog 2022 Dark Mode. I thought that this time I think we're going to mix it up a little bit and start with something new. I'd like to talk about stimuli variance. This is something that I have found to be quite useful for me the last couple of years, and to come up with new solutions to difficult problems or problems that maybe could be looked upon in some different light. I just came back from a evening bike along the ocean during sunset with a couple of beers and listening to low frequency music. And there's something quite special about stimuli variance. So this is when you give yourself new input that is not part of the daily routine. What the human mind, the human brain is quite magical. When given new information, new stimuli, it outputs different reactions, because it's just like this stimuli processing unit. I'm not a neuroscientist. I can't tell you exactly how this works, but it's quite powerful when you can provide it new information, new stimuli. You can get different types of output. So just to bring this back into, actually first I'll talk about a type of stimuli variance that everybody can do that I found quite helpful is just ice cold showers. And I have showers in the morning. So when you walk in the shower, don't have it ice cold right away. Walk in neutral. Not hot shower, but not cold either. And so when you get inside the shower, then once you get wet and you're kind of wake up a little bit, then at the end of your shower, just crank that thing maximum cold spectrum. And my gosh, even if you can just 15 to 20 seconds or longer if you can, but after that's all that's really required to give you this stimuli variance. And then once you get out of that shower, yes, of course, painful during that moment in time, but once you walk out of that shower, you will feel reinvigorated. It is, and just that stimuli variance just can start your whole day off in a different vector. And I highly recommend those who have not done that before to at least try and just see where that takes you. But you must, I don't recommend taking a full cold shower. Get most of your showering done with a neutral temperature. Don't go hot, because then the cold is the higher threshold. But if you just go in neutral, and then at the end, just crank that puppy right down to the maximum cold for 20 seconds, half a minute, 1 minute, whatever you can last. It's quite the rush, and will really get your day started with a bang. To bring that into cultures a little bit, I wanted to talk about how Halo, with the Halo project within Culture Earth, and really that stimuli variance is what that Halo is trying to facilitate for many minds around the world. And I think Halo would have multiple innovation hubs globally, and that innovation hub would be for those of you for those people that can cross some sort of intellectual output token stream threshold. And this should be the whole innovation hub should be incentivized. This should be a amazing time, just full of the best technology and the best minds and the best tools and the best collaboration, and have great housing and have great being involved in nature, and have the option for this very low frequency, high pressure waves to shake you up sometimes, because we all need that once in a while. And just create this environment that is exciting, that people want to come in and participate in to solve the hard problems. But it can't be this 9-to-5 suit and tie, tower, cubicle, fluorescent light situation. That is where ideas go to die. And that's not an inviting place to work. And again, it's all about getting your mind in the right place to come up with these new ideas and these new solutions to our hardest problems. So that's what Culture Earth, the campuses, the Halo campuses around the world, this is what they will do. And I think you want two things that would happen here is because if you have some sort of, I think you'd probably want some sort of trailing threshold of tokens that you've received to be eligible for this. So people, of course, will only receive tokens when they are doing useful output, intellectual output along the value vector. So I think if you cross some sort of threshold on your token intake over the trailing 12 or 24 months, that will make you eligible to participate in these global campuses. And then it's not like a job. This is, again, this whole fired and hired and 9-to-5 whole situation. This is a relic of the past. Useful, yes, while that was our technology. No longer relevant. This is voluntary, of course, but this should be like something that's coveted and people love to come and do and work their hardest. But it's not just work. It's this place of stimuli to just get the best out of our human minds. Humans, we're in this predicament together here, so we need to do everything we can to stimulate the human mind and give us the stimuli we need and the environment we need and the people and surrounding technology that we need to get the absolute best of us to solve these hard problems. And that's what these Halo campuses, these Halo innovation campuses will do. And then it's not like once you still have that 24-month kind of trailing threshold. So even if you get into it, you're not just like protected by that. You have to continue to output good ideas to remain. You don't want to be too tight of a loop there. Otherwise, you'll be always worried about getting kicked out. But there will be a forcing function for the continuous output of intellectual output, such that there's always the most productive crew that are working around the world. And with keeping stimuli variance in mind, you probably want all these people to be able to go to any of these global campuses just to increase this stimuli variance and clash with different minds and rub up against just like different ideas and let the best ideas win. And just seems like something that would be fun and probably useful, and definitely useful if we can execute this correctly. Next up, I went backwards here. I just wanted to talk about stimuli variance first because I had just experienced some and thought that it might be helpful in this dark mode setting. Second, there's some sort of like common thing out there that talks all about this, how we need to sacrifice some portions of our livelihood or our like things that we love to get to the sustainability or resilience kind of threshold. This is the wrong mindset. Like that's a losing mindset. No, you won't, nor should it win. Like we don't want to sacrifice. We don't want to sacrifice and give up things that we love and that we've kind of come to love over, like, given our current technology. So this is not a sacrificial thing. This is a technology innovation thing. So if we focus the incentive structure on the technology innovation and not just the unit output of our stuff, we have a far greater chance of overcoming these thresholds and not being fed this thing that we need to sacrifice or turn the light like this. It's the peak heat in some areas in North America right now, and they are experiencing brownouts. So the grid is just not able to keep up with the demands, the electricity demands of the people. We're in 2022. What is happening here? Why is this the case? This is like, again, this is such a solvable problem, and the fact that we are just on the razor's edge of the demand and generation line is madness. This is a failure of the system, but not surprising when you look at the incentive structure of our resource growth value vector. It's in times like this when your power is cut out, not here, thankfully, but in some areas in North America right now, power intentionally being shut off because the grid cannot support air conditioning to cool the houses during the increasingly large heat waves around the world. This should be unacceptable as a civilization, and it is shocking that we're in this predicament. But when you look at the whole picture and the incentive structure of this resource growth value vector and the current organizational leadership structure and the incentive structure for that, makes sense. Are we gonna do this, or we can if we want to, but we need to want to first, and then we can do it. Anyone else that wants to? Anyone else is down? Let's go. On that note, what I was just talking about is like, because we're a little bit removed, we're quite a few generations removed now from actually having to care about the pillars of civilization. When I talk about pillars of civilization, I just mean the things that are required for survival in life. So you need food and water kind of thing are grouped together. You have energy, you have shelter, you have like goods, I suppose, although not as important as the rest of them, and then communication. And these things really are the pillars of civilization. These are what are needed. And this is why Halo is focused on these first, because you can get these to zero marginal cost and fully sustainable in this circular economy thing, then you can create a resilient and sustainable future. But we're not there yet. And this is the point I'm trying to make now, is that because we're a few generations or quite a few generations removed from having to focus on these things, it's easy to the innovation curve to do this like flattening thing. It is really flattened, but we're not, the problem with that is like, we're flattening too soon. We need to keep going up to like cross that threshold into full sustainability and resiliency as a civilization, have this like finite amount of atoms in our economy that can be fully recycled, and have this like fully renewable energy situation such that everything, no matter the energy thing, we should be able to multiply by 10 our energy consumption and be no problem. This whole thing of being on the verge of 1 or 2% and even in the negative sometimes is madness. So what I'm trying to say is that we must collectively build the organizational structures to surpass this threshold. We're close, but we're fizzing out before we get there. And it's not a good thing. Sorry, I laugh, but it's just like, it's not funny. It's serious, but it's just like, this is not our current organizational structure, and the leadership within organizations just kind of tend to think this is a money problem, because the resource placeholder crew, or just like that's resource placeholder just solution to everything. This is not a money problem. If this was a money problem, we would have solved all the world's problems long ago. We could just print another trillion, solved. No, this is an incentive system structure and an organizational architecture problem, and getting the right incentives in the right organizational structure will solve this. And this is what cultures are about, and this is what Culture Earth is aiming to do. And all of these problems are solvable, but only if you have the correct incentive structure within the correct organizational structure that will actually allow us to solve these problems. These are hard problems that you can't just print money to solve. You can't just create some currency to solve. You can't just wave some wand and solve. This is very difficult work by very talented minds to solve these problems. But we can't, these minds are available. The people are here to help and to do this and want to do this. But if we do not have the organizational structures to encourage this behavior, to get humanity past this point and just fizzle out before we reach it, that is what we will end up with, and that is where we will end. This is where the organism that is humanity, that's it. But or we'll just like succumb to whatever else is going on. But like we're so close. All these previous generations before us have just like, we're just like, they've gotten here, and then on the backs of these hard-working heroes, true heroes, brilliant, genius people, hard-working, battled through thick and thin, and wars and famine and disease, and people that were calling these guys and women witches and wizards for just thinking that beyond the obvious, and they persevered through this time because they knew it was for humanity, it was for the light of consciousness that they did these things. And wouldn't it be tragic if we were just right here, so close to this like threshold where we can, even if it's just getting like, don't think about this too massively, just like get to the sustainability threshold, or the so we're just like, and the resilience threshold. So like we're just like on this closed loop circuit on atoms or on electrons, or like these, so that we're sustainable in energy and materials and food. I mean, this is so solvable if we create the right organizational structures with the right incentive structures and the right incentive algorithms. And not easy, none of this is easy, but this is our responsibility. It is up to us to do this. And if this will not happen, this is not the path of least resistance. The path of least resistance is not a positive outcome for humanity. If it's not a positive outcome for humanity, we must work towards it, and with intention to solve these problems. So this is again coming back to the culture thing. This is what cultures are all about, and what Culture Earth is vigorously focused on. I'll finish out this little chat here in the dark of night with a couple of thoughts about intellectual property and intellectual output. What I call intellectual output. The resource growth value vector has incentivized intellectual property, because if you have this idea and then can sell this idea, your profit on your unit economics, your profit is on the units. So you need to maximize the amount of units sold. So, and if anyone else has that information, then they can sell units, and then your competitive advantage dissipates. Wrong. Wrong. Because the incentive structure is therefore to maximize the output regardless of the higher level outcomes to the environment, humans, or anything else. So what Culture Earth will do, and highly, highly recommended for other cultures, is to delete the profit off the unit economics and instead have this token stream coming in and act as an incentive structure to pursue growth and pursue new innovations and technology and solutions to create technologies that are resilient and sustainable and fully in a circular materials economy, a circular economy, to create this resilient and sustainable future for humanity. And just thinking about intellectual property, if everything is transparent, both projects and cultures themselves, and everything that is done within them, then all current existing ideas are a commodity of the community and therefore worthless, because anybody can just take it. Amazing. Therefore, like, you need to do that in order to properly incentivize the next idea, the new idea, that not just, and then the new technology, the new innovation, the new manufacturing method that makes it zero cost or more sustainable or faster or more efficient or whatever. Like anywhere from the very beginning inception of any sort of technology or product or service or whatever, all the way to the end distribution and circular and recycling of that product. And in our current resource growth value vector, somehow it has been, well, for the reasons that are obvious, the like the recyclability of our atoms has been pushed on the end consumer. Like, what? This is the life cycle of the product or service or technology has to be thought out at the inception of products, such that such that at the end of the life, they are easily brought back into this system for full recyclability. And just like if you zoom out and think about Earth, we have a finite amount of useful atoms and useful molecules that we want to extract from Earth, that we need to extract from Earth for a great lifestyle. But you don't want this to be a one-way street for these atoms. These have to go in a circuit, in a little roller coaster that comes back to back to the start line at the end. And this is what you need for batteries and products and technology of all kinds. And all in this recycling process to be powered by renewable energy, such that you eventually get to some steady state on the amount of extraction that you have from the planet, and all new energy that is infinite from the sun for any reasonable time period, that we can that it's just this just creates this fully sustainable situation. So intellectual property is a symptom of this resource growth value vector, and that is just encourages this defensive behavior. It's just like you have one good idea, and then you protect that idea with your life, and you have this like patent thing, and you have lawyers, and you have all this stuff about. Delete all of that nonsense. That is all useless. That is all zero value added behavior. Incentivize only the slope of the line, not the integral. Only the new ideas. And what you would do on the new ideas or the new inventions, on the new manufacturing or thought or utility or usefulness or affordability or manufacturability or efficiency or whatever of these items and technology, then what you probably would have for the people that come up with these things, it would be some sort of like a diminishing reward thing. Like in the beginning, you would get some sort of reward for whatever it is, and it would be proportional to how great a solution that was. Or maybe the duration or the magnitude of that would be proportional to, or maybe both, to how useful this idea or process or technology or whatever it was that was come up with. But it would eventually dissipate in time, such that there would be an opportunity for for that token then to then be used as an incentive for the next good idea. If you just do the thought experiment with me briefly, if you did not have this diminishing token reward that was then used eventually to go back into the token incentive structure, you'd eventually reach some sort of saturation point on your token stream, such that all tokens are just like are being rewarded, are being diverted and distributed to people that have had that one idea. But if it stays that way, if that's just like this indefinite reward structure, then you reach saturation on your token distribution stream, and then you're stagnant again on your innovation. And this is again is like clearly where we're at, like in the government incentive structure and even in corporations, is like you just reach that sort of steady state eventually. But if you just have this diminish in time, such that then you have the capacity to reallocate that token to the next good idea in this conscious evolution process, you can truly make progress along these value vectors of sustainability, affordability, resilience, utility, usefulness, and efficiency of these amazing technologies that we can build and should build and need to build to create this great future for humanity. So I'll cut it there for now, and hope that wasn't too much of a rabbit hole chat there in the darkness, but thought that I would let those thoughts free. Thanks.